Enlightened World Network. And today's topic is money. It's a topic that has lots of charge for lots of people, so it should be fun to dig into it and see how our beliefs and ideas around money shape our experience and how intricately tied into self-worth and all kinds of other things ideas around money are. But before we get started, let's just take a minute or two to settle in and get present. Let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen just flooding your lungs and flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing every cell, every organ in your body, and bringing vital life energy throughout your being. And as you exhale, exhale any stress, any tension, any negativity, any toxicity. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And this time, imagine brilliant bright light lighting you up from the inside out, illuminating and electrifying and energizing every molecule, every electron, lighting your cells up. And as you exhale, exhale any remaining fatigue, stress, tension, negativity. And now let's just gently press our palms together and presence yourself to the nerve endings in your fingers and in your palms, and just feel how delicious that sensation is of tickling and tingling, and allow yourself to be present to your body and this moment right here, right now. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So great to have you guys here with me today. And welcome, Kim. Great to see you back. And Rosalind and Christina. You guys, it's awesome to spend these mornings with you. Thank you for being here with me. So, we're talking about money today. So, it should be a real interesting conversation. Good morning, Marianne. Welcome back. Uh, so money, money, money. They say money makes the world go round, but we know better, right? But we also have typically a lot of charge around money and conversations around money and beliefs about money, and when we, I mean, like, money is the root of all evil. Actually, I think the proper a quote of that. Good morning, Robert. Welcome to Money Morning Thursday. I think the proper quote is the love of money is the root of all evil. But I don't know if that's, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how the quote goes. And money makes the world go round. And what else? What other things are associated with money? Greed is associated with money. Power, right? Money equals power. What other things do we think about money? Because here's the thing, we are very much at the effect of our public conversation around money. The public thinking, like the collective thinking around money, and unless we allow ourselves to bring ourselves into our awareness, aware about it, and about our thoughts and feelings about it. And it's good morning, Robert. Welcome, welcome. And oh, you already said that money equals the energy. Good morning, Suzanne. Wonderful to have you here. So, money equals energy, money equals security. Interesting, right? So, money in its essence is originally meant to facilitate trade, right? Because let's say I'm trading you let's say I have a cow and you want a cow, and I'm trading you a cow, and you have candles and I need candles. And the thing is, do I need a cow's worth of candles, right? So instead, we could be using money as this means of exchange, um, to be able to say, well, I don't want to cut my cow up. I want it alive. So because we can put the value of money in a cow, then I can take candles worth, or however many candles I need worth of money, and give that to you, and you can give me a cow's worth of money. So it was meant to be exchanged. Now it's become a thing in and of itself. So you guys are chiming in with wonderful things here. So Suzanne says money equals security, and Christina says money is freedom. Good morning, Jennifer. Welcome, welcome. We're talking about money today, and our beliefs and ideas around it and how it impacts us. And Rosalind says, money doesn't buy happiness, but I sure get happy when I get to spend money at the farmer's market, exchanging currency for fresh flowers, local fruit and vegetables, and artisan baked baguettes. Oh my gosh, Rosalind, you're making my mouth water. And farmers markets are awesome, awesome. And money allows us to have more easy access in many cases to things that we desire, and things that we need as well. So let's see. Good morning, Tammy. Welcome, welcome. And good morning, Dennis. Great to have you here. Good morning, Isabel. Wonderful to have you here. Everybody's loving up on everybody else. Good morning, Irma. It's so good to have you. So we're talking about money. And the thing is that this is so interesting. I was talking to someone the other day and about money, and how when they had a bunch of money, their first reaction was to get rid of it. In other words, to spend it on all kinds of things until, there was nothing left. And I'm wondering, we were digging into what the dynamic might be behind that. And what came up was that there was a fear, and also an association with money having been a tool of control, that was levied on them, or that was their experience. That money was a tool of control. So when they were given money, then they were, there were strings attached, and so there was um, sort of this wanting to get rid of it, and also recognizing how they had used money to control sort of relationships, or to be in a power position in a relationship. I thought it was really, really brilliant observation. So, for example, always paying for a friend's movie or dinner or something, then that is a position of inequity if you're not allowing the other person to reciprocate, right? Dennis says money can't buy happiness, but it can buy the important ingredients. So interesting, yes. So we often equate money to freedom. And I think we've spoken about freedom on multiple occasions. Freedom is an inside job. We know that, right? Money money's a wonderful lubricant, right? Social lubricant, or a lubricant for freedom, to allow us to navigate all kinds of situations in life with greater ease, perhaps. And another thing that occurs to me is money is, when we have a cushion, there is a sense of security and safety. Now, the thing is that security and safety is also an inside job. The question is, how much money is enough, right? And I have to say that this whole conversation about money was inspired because I'm going to, with my coaching group, we have a weekly get together. And this week we're going to address issues and energy around taxes. And so, in thinking about taxes, I was thinking about money, obviously. Good morning, Lisa. Welcome. Great to have you here. We're talking about money this morning. And I wonder, I was mentioning somebody who, when they get a big chunk of money, felt the obligation somehow, or the drive to divest themselves of that money, to spend it, to donate it, to buy things, to just to relieve themselves of the money, the burden of it, perhaps, or the possible negative ways that they might be concerned about using it. So Robert says sometimes when we have small amounts of money, we live in a lax state of mind. For example, you see a beggar that asks you for money. You think that if you give the beggar some change, you will have none left. But if we change our perspective and we think from an abundance mindset, we find that miracles happen and the universe rewards us in unexpected ways. Um, and so I think that that's really true, Robert, that the universe, I think that when we have an abundant mindset, we can have an abundance mindset regardless of how much money we have in the bank or in our pockets. And I wonder how it is. Oh, um, Lisa Phillips is saying, hello, cutie. I think she's talking to Maggie. I have 3 feathered kids, 3 birds. Lisa, I am amazed at how intimate a relationship can be forged with a bird, a pet bird. Like even more intimate possibly than with cats and dogs. I mean, she's with me pretty much all the time. Sometimes she sleeps with me too, which is wild. She kind of burrows under my neck, and it's crazy to be experiencing how close a relationship is possible with a feathered creature. It's really, I'm blown away by it. Anyway, back to money, money, money. So yeah, she is totally being loved and taking it in. When she wants to be petted, she just sort of butts my hand to scratch her and love her up. So Rosalind says, what is essential regardless of how much money is in the bank? I think what is essential is different for each person. I agree with you 100%, Rosalind. And uh, I think I've seen incredible generosity from people who have very little, and I've seen incredible um, stinginess from people who have a lot of money. And so what I want to get to is that the amount of money isn't what creates the freedom. That there are all kinds of associations with money. Like people who have lots and lots of money can also be in a lack mindset because they don't have as much as the other people with lots of money that they're around. So the question is, um, and we talk about this a lot in regard to other things. When is enough enough? We were talking about this in regard to um, consumerism. So Lisa says, it truly is amazing about the feathered friends. I have 2 grays and a cockatoo. That's so cool. The cockatoo loves to snuggle under the covers next to my leg. That's a riot. I know grays are supposed to be so, so, so smart. So Lisa says, when growing up, my mom showed love with money. I think that has created a block somehow. So I can totally relate to that, Lisa, because that's how that was the case with my dad. My dad showed me his love with his generosity with money. And it did for many years create a block for me because I really wanted his time and to be spending time with him. and the money was not a replacement for it. And it felt like he was kind of blowing me off in a way. And so I was associating money with ironically not being good enough to, to have his time and share that with him. It's really interesting. I resented money because of that. And I don't know if you're experiencing any of those same dynamics, Lisa, but for a long time, I had a lot of issues around money. Whenever I got money or had saved money, what would happen is there would be some kind of big unexpected expense or something that would end up eating it all up. And like the dynamic of this other person who, whenever they got money, they got rid of it. I i i did the same thing, but not in a deliberate conscious fashion. What would happen is, I guess, I would manifest situations that would end up costing me a bunch of money and eat up whatever those savings were. Thankfully, I've done tons of work around money and worthiness over the years, and it seems to have paid off, pun intended, because now I'm able to have more of a cushion and greater abundance in my life. And so, oftentimes we associate saving money or accumulating money or having a lot of money with greed. Think of the phrase filthy rich. Isn't that interesting? Where did that come from? That we have a lot of negative associations culturally. And so when I started really realizing that I could do a lot more in the world if I had a bunch of money to be able to support projects that I wanted to see forwarded, or help a lot of people, contribute to causes that I support, or that I'm aligned with. There are all kinds of capabilities that we can have with money that we don't have as easeful and access to without it, right? And so, Shelley, I don't know if I said hello. I think I did. When I had money, I gave it to my broke family members because I felt guilty for having it when they didn't. I believe I felt unworthy. That's such a really rich insight, Shelley. So one of the things that is interesting is when people win the lottery, at least from what I understand, that many people who win the lottery end up going broke, um, with those winnings, losing all the winnings or spending them or whatever, because of this guilt around, if I have and you don't, then I should feel guilty. And there is a lot of unworthiness around having or unworthiness comes into play often with having or not having money. Feeling unworthy to have a bunch of money, or feeling like there's ominous responsibility associated with money, or feeling like I'm not worth it. Like, or if I'm not making enough, if I'm not making a lot of money, to think that obviously I'm not worth any more than I'm making, like tying the money that I have to my own worthiness. And one of the things that we have spoken about this week is not needing to do or be or have anything particular to be sufficient and worthy. And so Lisa says, I think I do. I never realized it till recently. I think this is saying, talking about a block, but I don't know how to change it. I also spent money trying to recapture that now that she's gone. Interesting. So you're talking about your mom, and how she showed love with money. And so now spending money is a way that you're trying to show love to yourself somehow, or recapture her love. I get it. And how to change it. I think we get to look at our deep feelings of worthiness and our beliefs. And there are change techniques that neurolinguistic programming, NLP, is a really powerful technology for shifting beliefs. Another thing is to do tapping around it. And you can go to, I think it's called the tappingsummit.com or tappingsummit.com. And there are all kinds of tapping processes that are tapping all the different meridians to relieve charge and energy around topics. And there are some wonderful, wonderful books out about relationship with money. And one of them, I'm just trying to see if I can find it on my phone. Um, One of them is written by Kyle Cease. And let me see, I think I can find it for you here in a minute. And it's all kinds of exercises to be shifting and your awareness around money and your relationship with money, which is really, really cool. So let me just see if I can find it here. Hold on one second. Kyle Cease. Okay. And it's called The Illusion of Money. The Illusion of Money by Kyle Cease. And there is another wonderful book about creating a relationship with money, um, written by, oh boy, it'll come to me. It'll come to me. Let me catch up with your quote, your chat comments here. So Lisa said, oh no, said what Lisa said. Robert says, I was never supported with money by my family when I was young, and I had a lot of friends who loved my pocket. Had a lot of friends who loved my pocket. I used to help a lot of friends when they needed financial help. I see what you're saying. But when I needed help, they acted like they didn't know me. Ouch, Robert, that sounds really devastating, actually. Robert goes on to say, that's the reason I can now count my friends on the fingers of one hand. So, I have a large circle of warm acquaintances and a small circle of close friends. And I know it's different for different people, but I think we get to be discerning about why we're giving money to people too. Am I giving money to somebody because I care about them, or to feel good about myself? Or, we get to see why. What's our why? And my experience with giving money to people is to be in a place where I don't particularly anticipate getting it back. And I understand, Robert, how painful it is to not have reciprocity in friendships, where people are willing to take and not give. And it's a balance. It's a balance to be able to find our own alignment, our own values, and also to feel into what's appropriate give and take. We've been talking this week about, yesterday we talked about trust and trusting other people, or feeling betrayed or disappointed by other people when they don't hold our own the same values that we hold. And it sounds like the people that you were being so generous with were not holding similar values. So Isabel says, yes, I would love to have lots of money. Many projects I dream since forever. creating a new way of school for children, and now to build a community, autosufficiency, etc. Yes. So I think, I don't know if you meant autosufficiency, self-sufficiency, but yes, exactly. So I'm in a place now in my life where I have a lot of visions for big projects as well, and in order to be able to manifest these big projects, it was essential to shift my experience and my mindset and my beliefs and my triggers around money. It was essential to do that. And part of it is having a healthy respect and appreciation for money, rather than I know that a lot of healer people that I've encountered in my life and previously myself really had negative ideas about money. And the thing is that really, I believe that most of those negative ideas generated from seeing the way that other people and organizations and culture, our culture, how our culture uses money, and the consumerism perhaps, and the association of that with money itself, rather than recognizing all the remarkable things that we can do when we direct money in positive ways. So let's see what else. Oh, it was Lynn Twist. There we go. Lynn Twist wrote a wonderful, or co-authored, I believe it was Lynn Twist, co-authored a wonderful, wonderful book about money. If you want to go look that up. And Isabel says, especially for me to have freedom to do what I want when I want. That's what I've always said. I want to do what I want, when I want, where I want it, with whom I want. you know, yes, I want to, and what we could do, one thing we can do there is we can change the word want to I would enjoy doing what I desire, when I desire, with whom I desire, the freedom to do all those things. And Shelly says YouTube has many free courses on money. That's awesome to know. That's really cool. And it makes sense that YouTube would have lots of free courses on money. It just never occurred to me to check them out. That's awesome. And Lisa replying to Robert, exactly, makes you not trust anyone's intention, which creates another issue. Yes, so that's another thing when people have a lot of money, sometimes other people seek them out for that very reason. And so there is an element of trust, and how do you trust people to be authentic friends. There are people who make a living at essentially tricking people into giving them their money. So yeah, it's a place where we get to again and again get to come back to that gut knowing, and pay attention to our other than conscious awareness that hopefully will help to protect us from people who have not honorable intentions. So Robert says, yes, my why was to be able to help, not expecting anything in return. So, Robert, I hear you. And he says, but still in a friendship, you would expect to receive some help when you need it. Absolutely. You would expect that there would be reciprocity, 100%. And the thing is that people do give us signals about who they are, and when we get that information, when we get that feedback, it's important to pay attention to it. This is also one of the things that we spoke about this week. It's important to be honest about what you see, you know, because we'll often justify and rationalize and um, choo- choose to ignore the signs that or the communications that people are giving us that let us know that maybe we shouldn't be expecting what we're expecting, right? And Isabel says, I'd love to create a museum of Portuguese culture in Florida. It seems we are not known much about. That's a brilliant, wonderful idea. Now, see, that's something that you probably could gain funding for. I mean, we have these opportunities now to be doing crowdfunding for projects, which is really brilliant. There's Kickstarter and Indiegogo, and there, Maggie. Maggie thinks it's a brilliant idea too, Isabel. So you could potentially get something like that crowd funded, which would be really exciting to put together that kind of campaign. And it's not something that you need to fund yourself. So the thing is that money. I think I talked the other day about how when we were talking about consumerism, about how at one point when I had very very little money, I took on the perspective that everything in the world is mine, whether it's in a store or whether it's in a museum. It's mine at least to appreciate, maybe not to use directly, but it's mine to appreciate. And so the thing is that money is all over the place. There's all kinds of money to have. It doesn't have to necessarily be in my pocket in order for me to be able to do things with it. So, for instance, if you want to create a museum, there are other people that have money that might be into doing the same thing, and you can be coordinating and developing it and spearheading that project. I'll bet you'd have a lot of people that would be interested in supporting such a thing. So maybe that's a wonderful project. I don't know if you have a deep enough inspiration to jump into it that way, but I see that you don't have to wait for money for it, at least not your own money. So Robert says, I have two great visions of creation: a public workshop to all kinds of artists to watch and come to work with. I love that. I love that. And yeah, Maggie's definitely pretty pretty engaged this morning. Maggie, hi, sweetie. Everybody hears you. So Robert says, that reminds me of the scanner we talked about yesterday. Absolutely. Absolutely. We get to touch into our gut. You know, when you're giving, you know, we talked about how some of us are have given because it makes us feel like we're a good person, right? And then when other people don't reciprocate, we feel used and abused sometimes. So we get to use that scanner. It all comes back to the scanner. So, or really, our she's sitting on the computer, bouncing up and down while she's screaming. so, um, so you're welcome, Isabel, for sure. And Robert says one of the two visions has started in 2020. Now need to find a way to expand. That's brilliant. So, Robert, is it the artist workspace that has created it that started in 2020? Christina says that's mine too. So Christina shares that vision. I don't know where it's located, but who knows? Maybe you guys can collaborate and create some kind of franchise opportunity or a template that other people in other communities can replicate. So one of the things that, you know, I think we all have superpowers. Lisa says Maggie's telling us to raise our vibration. Yeah, well, maybe because she's definitely raising a ruckus. Robert says, two visions I call projects. The first is Project the Healer, which I started last year as a crystal shop. And the second is Project the Shelter, which will be a self sufficient, self sustaining shelter for homeless people and animals. Wow, beautiful, beautiful, Robert. How awesome. And where are these projects going to be located? I have a project that I call Project Eco Park, and I'm actually starting to get rolling on um, updating the presentation deck and getting talking to venture capital people and putting together a mastermind, and is all very exciting. And having these projects, having this sense of purpose is so invigorating and enlivening. And so I think what we get to oh, I'm sorry. Robert says the artist project is Isabel. Sorry, the healer I started in the UK. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. And Christina says I'm in the process of tightening mine down. Boundaries with or without money involved needs to be implemented. So, guys, think about crowdfunding. If funding is part of the issue, think about crowdfunding and how you might be able to enroll a greater collective in supporting your project. That's brilliant. And I love Project Healer. That's awesome. Um, these projects, really going for it, even in the face of not knowing how, taking ownership of these visions, folks. This is what life is about. Robert says, but the final goal is to create the biggest healing center, the healer. Ooh, I love it. I love it, love it, love it. When we have a vast vision, it brings us life and vitality and magic, because we end up be going into situations. First of all, we have a momentum behind us, and second of all, we not only do we have a momentum behind us, but we create a field of attraction to bring remarkable connections and opportunities. And um, so I can't say strongly enough how enriching a sense of purpose or mission is in life. And for me, it's the ultimate source of magic and fulfillment, really. And finding that thing that lights you up, that it then kind of creates. I don't know if you've ever driven like in the airstream behind a big truck or something. It creates sort of a vortex that pulls you forward. That's how vision and mission work. And so realize that money does not have to be a limitation. There are all different avenues to access money, whether it's yours or somebody else's. So for these visions and possibilities. So and it doesn't necessarily have to be money. Sometimes it can be goods or opportunities that just show up in very unexpected ways. So I guess what we're talking about here is abundance. And Robert says, and the other one, I haven't thought about where to locate it yet. And I'd like to create it without any external funding to be sovereign. Well, if you can do that, God bless you. Good for you. Do it. That's awesome. And yeah, I understand, to be able to create the vision exactly the way you want it. It would be nice to be able to fund it yourself, right? I get it. So, what an interesting turn from money to purpose, right? Through our conversation today. As always, very enlivening, very, very rich I can always count on these conversations being tremendously rich. Christina says, I recently had to change gears again as where I had been investing money turned out to be not in alignment with my values. Good for you, Christina. Congratulations for that. That is awesome. In a short period of time, now working on a scholarship for local kids, whether they are planning on going to college or not. Plus, what has already been started to bring pet food to our local food pantry and a camp for a day camp for kids with special needs, not wasting energy on takers anymore. I love it, Christina. What you're doing is you're taking all your incredible energy and putting it out in the world with amazing projects. Congratulations. What a fireball you are. That's amazing. Lisa says we have several empty school buildings in my area. 2 years ago, the bigger one of two homeless shelters was destroyed in a flood and never reopened or replaced. I'd like to take one of the larger schools and convert it to a family shelter. There are too many families with small children living under a bridge. Lisa, that's a beautiful, amazing project. And I imagine that you could find a lot of support for that, especially through COVID, with the increase in people that are homeless. And what a brilliant, brilliant, beautiful vision. And Isabel says, mine is for all artists that cannot invest in so many machines and big space to work in. So a workspace, I love it. Example, my field is ceramics. We need a lot of expensive stuff. And this way there would be these space that, a space that had all the ceramic sculptures, etc. Any artists only need to have a project or an idea to go there and develop this plan. So there are places called maker spaces. And it sounds like, Isabel, you're talking kind of about a maker space, or a collective, an artist collective. And I think that's a brilliant, brilliant idea. In fact, Irma, you've been playing with the idea of an artist's space as well, collective, gallery. I don't know if that's still in the forefront for you, but maybe if it is, you guys could be collaborating on this idea too. And Isabel says, and adding music too, and have days for workshops with children too. And I agree with you, Robert. It's great. What a wonderful, wonderful vision. And when I say children, I especially mean poor people, beautiful people who don't have the opportunities perhaps that people with more financial stability have. I love it. Beautiful, beautiful. You guys are so inspiring. Really phenomenal. Thank you so much for sharing your visions. Maybe we can talk about visions some more tomorrow, because I love I love what you guys are coming up with. And so Lisa says there's a place in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania called Art Quest. It's very successful, everything from painting, pottery, glass blowing, etc. And so one of the things that I have found to be really empowering when doing a project is to look at, oops, guys, um, is to look at other. That was interesting. I think it's time for me to go because somebody else is trying to get on for probably a meditation a day. Anyway, I just want to say thank you. Thank you. Let's maybe tomorrow we get to share some more of our visions and talk about collaboration and how we might be able to manifest these things in the world. That would be a wonderful thing. And Robert says, well, for me, this year is amazing from a numerology point of view, as it's a number 2 collaboration and it's starting. Exactly. So I think that this is a really valuable, amazing conversation. And I think I told you also that I'm going to be doing a sustainability hour on at One with the Earth. We're going to start on April 7th. And collaboration is a really big part of that, collaborating on our vision for the world. So we'll be able to talk about it there too. And no worries, Lisa. Anyway, thank you all once again. This was really stimulating. Tomorrow we'll talk about vision, mission, purpose, projects that we're up to or that we dream about that we want to bring into reality. I think that'll be great fun. So until next time, I'm Mira Rubin. This is Maggie, and this is the this is the Core Connection, and we go live each weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, and we go live on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page. Please check out the other wonderful programming and community in Enlightened World Network, Enlightened World Living, and at One with the Earth. I don't know, I know that the programming from the weekend is probably up and available on that channel. So lots and lots of love to you. Can't wait for our conversation tomorrow, and enjoy your day. Keep dreaming, and let's make our dreams a reality.